Hi friends, we are celebrating a new moon in Pisces on March 2nd, 2022, and I'm coming in to talk about what that new moon might feel like for you, how you might be moving through it energetically, what's going on in and around it, and we can talk a little bit about too the cards that associate with this particular moon coming up. They are cards that we've already talked about recently, so I'm not going to spend a tremendous amount of time talking about those cards, but I'm going to spend more time in this video doing a tarot card pull with you. Okay, so I'm going to draw a card for the new moon energy and we're going to look at that card. Watch, it'll be one of the cards that I've already, drawn in the last few weeks. We'll be forced to talk about it, I suppose. Let's reflect a little bit on where we've come from, right? So the cards that we've really been focusing on this season is Pisces, because the sun is in Pisces and here we have the moon in Pisces, right? So we've been looking real long and hard at the moon card and how it associates with the sign of Pisces and how it helps us to get in touch with that which is going on subconsciously for us, as well as what's going on in the collective consciousness. So we've got a few, I'll just talk about it, but please do feel free, and I'll put the link in the show notes to look at the videos that have come before this one to really dive deep as well in the moon card, as well as my podcast episodes, my Urban Siren podcast episodes. But the moon card in a nutshell is a card of great mystery, and it can leave us feeling a little a little bit like, but I asked a question and you're not really getting back to me on that, because the moon card is really about sitting with the discomfort of not knowing. It's a difficult placement to be sometimes. It doesn't always feel all that comfortable to be in that not knowing space, but the moon card helps to teach us to become present with what is, even if we don't understand what is. So it's not an easy card necessarily, but I personally find that it has a tremendous amount of wisdom, as do all the cards in the tarot, but it has a lot of wisdom in the level that it helps us become present in the moment, and it reminds us not to project ourselves into the future or the past for that matter, but to rather, as symbolized by the crayfish, to be, how do I say this? To be aware that there are things that are bubbling up in our subconscious that if we give them the space to come forward, they will bring with it a tremendous amount of emotional bandwidth, wisdom, capacity. So we want to go into the depths of our psyche. We don't want to be afraid about going in the depths of our psyche. We want to be familiar with our shadow selves. We want to be familiar with the underworld of sorts, and that which is not necessarily above and beyond and things that we can see and understand. It's what goes on in the depths, and it encourages us to get deep. It encourages us to stay present with our subconscious selves and to start to get to know ourselves on a deep level. And then exemplified by the dog and the wolf, that we have our wild nature, we have our more domesticated nature, or the more, I would say, like tamed in a way, like a part of ourselves that is we're more comfortable with, versus the wilder part of ourselves. Some of us are really comfortable with our wild selves, but it's been demonized, right? It's been like, too wild is not good, and we turn wolves into werewolves and so forth. And so it's just something to consider, that we also want to bring up the essence of ourselves that is both what we're familiar with and comfortable with, as well as the essences of ourselves that we're not so comfortable with, even our wild natures. And the moon is looking down, just being present, like, holding space. So we are moving into this new moon in Pisces. So I want to look at the energy around that, because we're going to be moving out of Pisces season soon, and we're going to be moving into the vernal equinox, or the spring equinox, on March 20th. We'll be moving into Aries season. Pisces season is a time of closure. It's the last wheel of the zodiacal season before we move into Aries, the beginning of the zodiacal season. And in the 12th house, the house of mystery, the house of, it's been known as the house of undoing. It's the house in astrology where we really don't want we don't want to be seen too much in that house. We want things that are occurring in that house or in and around that house to remain under the radar. We don't want to come out guns a-blazing like we might and through our rising sign or something that's coming through the first house of our chart. The 12th house is like, shh, baby's sleeping. Like, we don't want to rock the boat. We don't want people to really see too much of what's going on in there, traditionally and sort of archetypally. But it's also a house of great promise in the sense that it's a beautiful house of dreams and possibility and potential and miracle. So a little message I want to share with all of you as we are coming through this new moon in Pisces: hold space for miracles. The new moon is a time where we birth things, where we create things, where the seeds of that which we want to bring into this world, we plant them in the new moon. So what is it that we want to be planting on this new moon, metaphorically, and maybe even like in real life? Like, it's a great time to start doing your planting, right? To get your seedlings going for spring. What do we want to be planting? What do we want to be creating? And I offer this on just about every new moon, but with Pisces, this is about turning inward and thinking about, necessarily thinking about, but feeling into the dream state. Great time for journaling. So if you're a person that loves to write and you're also interested in keeping records of your dreams, this is another opportunity for you to get that journal out and start writing as soon as you wake up and those dreams are fresh for you. Another transit I want to mention is the Mars and Venus conjunction, which is coming around again on March 5th, and this time will be in Aquarius, a sign of potential, progress, innovation, the macrocosm, bringing things to life also, but from a very progressive place. So think about how that Mars and Venus conjunction is feeling. Mars, the planet of action, doing, outward movement, outward engagement, and Venus, a planet that rules Taurus, a very earthy sign, a sign that's like, oh, I just want to cuddle up on the couch and get really comfy and just eat bonbons and watch my favorite show. And I mean, I'm Taurus rising, and that's literally one of my favorite things to do, bonbons included. But Taurus is very sensual. It's very tactile. It likes the way things feel. It likes the way, it likes to touch fabric, and it likes to taste things, and it likes to smell things, and it likes to embody things. And so Taurus is the energy also around Venus. And that is, how do we marry that very sensuous side of ourselves with the side of us that is doing and action and integration and all of that good stuff. So Mars and Venus together, conjunction in Aquarius, the sign of progressiveness and innovation. I'm going to leave that there and just suggest that on March 5th, as this conjunction comes into being in the sign of Aquarius, to keep in mind how it feels for you. If you're finding that there's things that are normally polarized on different ends of the spectrum that are actually coming together in a really interesting, innovative way. And you're like, wow, I never thought that, I mean, peanut butter and jelly taste great together, right? I never thought that peanut butter and jelly would taste so good. The first person that, figured that out. And it's like that sort of sense of trying something new and realizing, doing a SWOT analysis, what works, what doesn't, opportunities, threats, and so forth. But really moving into a space of let's patent, let's innovate, let's create, let's invent, and bringing those energies together. Okay, so think about that. I'm going to move now into the tarot card reading so that we can talk about what comes through. Let me shuffle this up. And I'll be so interested if a card that we've talked about recently comes through again. I'm always curious to know if that's what's going to happen. We shall see. Okay, let's see. Okay, ready? I'm going to pull the card for us. This is the Smith Rider-Waite deck that I'm using, by the way. And here's our card, and it is the Tower, and the Tower reversed. I'll go into this. So no, it is not a card that we really looked at, but it's a significant card because it's a major arcana card. Let me hold it upright for you so you can get a look at what's going on here. The Tower. Oh boy, talk about change, talk about innovation, talk about restructuring, okay? So I like this for us in this new moon in Pisces because it feels like we are being invited to really analyze what needs to go in our world, what needs to be, don't let the door hit you in the arse on the way out, sort of thing. The Tower is an implosion and an explosion. It is volatile in nature, right? And even though we have a new moon that we're experiencing, which is new beginnings, in order to bring in new beginnings, we need to make space, right? So what is it that you can let go of? What can you release? The Tower is asking you, in order to make space for the newness that you want to bring in, okay? It is reversed in our case. And so this could be an opportunity for you to really double down and really commit to letting go. Something that is way long past its shelf life in your world, okay? It can also indicate that we have experienced a tremendous amount of turbulence and we need to take a moment to circle our wagons, come back to center, recalibrate, and get our ducks in a row, so to speak, so that as we enter spring, a new season, the beginning of the zodiacal wheel, we are coming in fresh without baggage. How is that sitting for you? I'm curious to know. Please let me know in the comments if you feel so inclined. Go right ahead and drop a comment below. And if you are ever interested in working with me, you certainly can. My website is urbansirencreative.com, where I'm available for tarot card readings and astrology readings as well. And you can also book a discovery call with me, which is a free 20-minute introduction to what it is that we might be able to do while we work together. So if you're interested, check out the links below. Thank you as always for tuning in, and I'll see you probably before the full moon comes around again. But if not, you can always find me on Instagram at Urban Siren Creative, and I look forward to staying in touch. Thank you as always for being here, and have a blessed and bountiful and refreshing and invigorating new moon.